Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over A.X.E Judgment Day, and we actually pick up with the final chapter of this entire event. I'm not going to cover the Omega issue only because I kind of want to get back into our coverage over the X-Men. Either way, when it comes to A.X.E Judgment Day, the final chapter, it does pick up where our last few videos left off at, where the world is about to die, because when it came to this celestial, he had decided that this earth was a failure, and so it should be wiped out completely. Now, it did begin to attack the human race, just wiping out chunks of the race left and right. But now it's trying to access the Great Machine. Now remember, when it comes to the Great Machine, it's basically used as a way to keep the Earth alive. It's part of the Earth. And so if the Great Machine dies, the Earth dies with it. Now, luckily for our heroes, they were able to kind of keep the god out of the actual machine. It's still trying to access it, but it's having a harder time now. And so it does give our heroes more time to hopefully find a way to shut this god down. Now, when it comes to the survivors of the human race, well, right now they're being teleported over to the pocket dimensions the Eternals have inside the Earth. See, when it came to the Eternals, they have smaller towns or smaller cities inside the Earth, these pocket dimensions. And so right now, what the Eternals and the Avengers and some of the X-Men are doing is grabbing survivors of the human race and go ahead and bring them here. Just in case the Earth dies, there could be a possibility they could just live in these pocket dimensions for the time being. Now, with that being said, you did have Steve Rogers appear. When he does, he says, listen, this may be a good plan for right now, but sooner or later, that god is going to change its tactics. And once it does that, it's going to come here and try to wipe us out. And so, yes, this could be a good idea for right now. We already know this god is going to find a way to get here into this pocket dimension and to wipe us out just like that. So no, we're not safe. There's still a huge chance we could die. But then we have to remember that there are heroes inside the actual Celestial, and with these heroes, they're trying their best to find a certain piece that will give them the ability to kill off this god. Now remember, when it comes to this group, you have Jean Grey, Wolverine, Mr. Sinister, A.X.E, Makkari, and also Iron Man. Now, when it comes to most of the heroes in this group, they're okay with the idea of killing off this god to save the Earth, except for A.X.E and Makkari, the two Eternals. And the reason why, because remember, for years and years and years, she had the ability to talk to a god, but then she lost that ability. And so that was one of the reasons why she made this new god alongside with Tony Stark. Now, even though this god is right now about to wipe out the entire world, she feels like there's more of a misunderstanding. And so her goal is to try to talk to the god to say, listen, this race, the human race, does not deserve to die. It's all just one huge misunderstanding. Now, we did cover a tie-in that said that will be her downfall, her fate. Her faith is going to kill off the entire human race. And so it's her right now still having faith that she could change the god's opinion. And so when you have Jean Grey getting ready to kill off the god, she is stopped by A.X.E. And so we then jump over to our other heroes who are right now hiding along with the survivors of the human race in the eternal cities, those pocket dimensions. And so with those heroes, they're just hiding for right now, except that is the moment you have the god actually appear. And just like Steve Rogers said, sooner or later, that god is going to change its tactics. It did, and now it found a way to these pocket dimensions. And now it is getting ready to wipe out the rest of the human race. Now, that is the moment you have Star Fox say, hey, why not use the weapons that Uranos left behind? Because those weapons are powerful enough to buy us enough time to let the other heroes find a way to shut that god down. And matter of fact, when it comes to Steve Rogers and Nightcrawler, they're telling Star Fox, we don't have a choice here. We have to use those weapons to buy our friends enough time to actually save the day. And so getting back to our heroes inside of Celestial, it does lead into an argument between all our different characters. Now, when it comes to this argument, when it comes to Jean Grey, it's more of we should go ahead and kill off this god, because right now, when it comes to the human race, there's only a few of us left. There's only a few survivors of the human race. We still have the ability to rebuild the human race. But here you are now, A.X.E, trying to play the risk game to talk to this god about the idea of you're having a huge misunderstanding. That's a huge risk, because if you fail, then the rest of the human race will die, and that is it for us. Now for A.X.E, it's more of, but what if I'm able to actually convince the god that what he is doing is wrong? And once I am able to do that, what if it does actually reverse all the damage it done? That is a huge risk to take, but at the same time, it could work. And so both sides are giving good ideas, or good reasonings on why they have to do what they want to do. Except we kind of find out it was a test by the Celestial. He said, look at you guys. Here you are right now arguing with one another once again, which proves that no matter if it's the X-Men, the Avengers, or the Eternals are just regular humans, you are all selfish. You're not trying to realize that it's better to work together to find a way rather than work against each other to just find different ways. That is your problem, because look at the Eternals. You guys right now have been holding so many secrets from the human race because you feel like they are the lesser race. Yes, you were assigned to protect them, but you still look at them as the lesser race. Humans, like the Avengers, look at you guys. You guys have always hated the mutant race. But because right now the world might die, you have no choice but to work alongside with the mutant race. But what if you are able to take me out? Will you guys still love the mutant race? And then mutants, look at you guys. You're so down with the idea of going ahead and killing me off, which could risk the idea of bringing back so many dead humans. But because the humans did you wrong, you feel like you have the right to say, forget the humans, we're trying to save the mutant race. You guys are all selfish in your own ways. And that is why I feel like this world should die. And that is when you have Cersei step up. Now, when Cersei steps up, it's really more of her saying, no, we can change. And this is a callback to her failure when it came to her judgment. Because let's not forget, she failed because she did not tell the human race her dark secret, the Eternals' dark secret. The idea that every single time one of them dies, a human has to die to bring them back to life. She did not want to tell the human race at all. And so here she is right now, telling the entire world her dark secret, saying, hey guys, listen, humans out there, sometimes when you guys die, it's because of us. Because when we die, one of you have to die to bring one of us back to life. And when the humans find out, yes, they get angry. They get ticked off because now they realize that, oh my gosh, there could have been many people out there who had just died only because an Eternal died. And that is not fair at all. And we saw that in the last series of the Eternals. A young boy died because Icarus died. And so when Icarus died, the only way to bring him back to life was that boy to die. And so with that being said, with the entire world now knowing the truth, it's kind of like, look, Cersei is right. Eternals can change. They're now sharing their dark secrets. But when it comes to this god, he's kind of like, bam, okay, yeah, you did that, but still, so what? That's just you. That's not the rest of the world. So why should I care? But Tony Stark says, but that's the thing though. If one person can change, that means other people can change. It's not fair for you to judge an entire world by one person or a set of people, because you did give some folks a thumbs up. You did give some folks a thumbs down. That's not fair to give the ones who got a thumbs up the death wish as well. How in the world is that fair? And so that is when you have this Celestial realize that, oh my God, I'm not a god. Like, yes, a God is supposed to be perfect. A God should be able to make the correct judgment. A God should be able to do the right things no matter what. But here I am right now, and I feel like I'm not a perfect God. And on top of that, I was somebody who died but was brought back to life by humans, eternals, and also mutants. And with that being said, what kind of God can die and come back to life by the beings that it created? I'm not truthfully a great God. I'm not a flawless God. I'm imperfect. And so now the God realized maybe what I did is wrong. And so when it comes to Ajax's faith, it's technically working out right now, because now it's the God realizing that, yes, there is a huge misunderstanding here, that when it comes to the human race, yes, we do have mistakes across the board, but at the same time, we still have time to change, to make ourselves better, but the world better as well. And matter of fact, you have Jean Grey walk over to the God and say, hey, remember, when you judged me for my fault, for me killing off an entire world, but saying that I'm still in the wrong no matter how many good things I do, think about this for yourself. If you wipe us out, how in the world are you going to feel? How in the world are you going to feel down the road with the idea that you killed off an entire race, but then you judge someone else doing the same exact thing? How is that fair at all? And so it's right now the God realizing, oh my gosh, I am a failure as a God. Now, he does turn his attention to Ajax because she was the only person who believed in this God. And so he asks her, am I a good God? And she gives him a judgment, a thumbs down. And that is when he realized, oh my gosh, I am not a good God at all. And then it begins the process of reversing all the damage it did over the last few days. But we come to find out that when it came to Ajax and the Celestial, they combined together as one. And the reason why, because she's going to be a new God to prove that gods are not really perfect, but at the same time, they can still learn. But on top of that, they're still going to guide us and watch over us and decide if we're doing a good thing or a bad thing and give us judgment. But at the same time, it still believes that when it comes to the human race, people can still change, because look at Cersei. She changed. She told the entire world what happened when it came to the dark secret. And so because of her, this new version of Ajax / the God believes that the rest of the human race can do the same. The mutants, the humans, the Eternals, everybody still has the ability to make things better for the earth. A new church has been born when it comes to the Eternals. And so a few days pass by, and we actually pick up with Storm and Zoraz coming together to make a peace treaty between the mutants and also the Eternals. And the reason why, because let's not forget, this entire event only started thanks to Droog, who believed that the mutants should be killed off. And the reason why, because they are an off branch of the Deviants. And so when it comes to Eternals, they were made to kill off Deviants if Deviants go bad. Now, when it came to the mutant race, they didn't show that they were going bad and they deserved to die. It was just Droog saying, no, we have to go ahead and kill them off now, because when it came to the mutants, they're a whole brand new race that was built by the Deviants. We cannot have that, because then we'll be outnumbered. And so that is why when it came to Droog, he went to war against the mutants. Now, what he did not know, or he did know, was that when it came to the Deviants, they were made by Celestials to bring in new kind of beings to the earth, like the mutants. And so technically, Deviants are innocent. The only time Deviants should be killed if they turn evil. That is when you should kill them off. Either way, it's Zoraz saying, we, the Eternals, are going to leave the mutants alone. Because, hey, you know what? What we did is wrong, and honestly, you guys deserve better. Now, once you have Star Fox and Storm leave the building after saying, yes, we accept the deal of the peace treaty, that is when they find out the human race now hates the Eternals with a flaming passion. And honestly, they have the right to hate the Eternals, because look at what they have done. They basically said every single time we die, one of you die. And that could mean that there are so many innocent people out in the world who are just healthy people died just because an Eternal died. And so now the Eternals are the most hated race on the planet, no longer the mutants. Now, something else to mention is that when it comes to Jean Grey, she has opened up a new thing for the world, and that would be the Phoenix Foundation. Now, when it comes to the Phoenix Foundation, it's really more of the Phoenix coming here and saying, hey guys, listen, we know the mutants also messed up. You found out that we had the ability to resurrect our dead people, and we were not going to give you guys the ability to have that technology. We are going to change that, but not give every single person that ability. Instead, what we're going to do is bring back the people whose lives were cut short because of unknown reasons, like the Eternals, or possibly because they needed help, but unfortunately couldn't afford the help they needed. And so those folks right there are going to be the ones brought back to life. Now, the ones who die because of old age, or like they die because, hey, they wanted to die, we're not going to bring those folks back to life. But the ones who die because of, random things happen to them, yes, they are going to get a chance at a new life. And so when it comes to the final page of this event, we actually do pick up with Ajax now holding the powers of the Celestial in her hands, and now being the judge of this planet. And so with that being said, she does tell us, the readers, that when it comes to the world is always going to be judged every single day. The only difference is that she is not going to jump to conclusions. She's going to give the world a chance every single day to hopefully show her that the human race can change one day down the road, to make sure the world has not doomed itself. And so with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.